The girls you see in the cover page are my daughters.
Your twins.
Yes, my twins. Both the books are entirely different. A girl who struggles in her life, but she doesn't give up.
What was the hardest part in writing?
I really hope that they get inspired after reading the story. They keep the story stays in their heart for a long time.
What was the biggest challenge in getting this book into the world?
Out of the 10, 9 of them might be negative, but there will be one positive incident happening in your life. So hang on to that one positive and try to turn the rest of the 9 into positive.
How do you take the reviews of the readers?
If you love your work, go ahead and publish it. Don't hesitate. Don't think what other people are going to think.
Hello, J C Menon. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Welcome to our Voices of Insight podcast. Yeah, hi, Mrs. Menon. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anjali.
Mrs. Menon, I would request you for our listeners if you can just introduce yourself. What do you write? How did you get into this writing?
Yeah, sure. As you already know, my name is J C Menon, and I've always had this love for writing throughout my childhood and all that. But when I was small, I didn't have the confidence to show my written work to anybody. I used to hesitate. Probably because of that, I never had the confidence to publish my book or publish my article or whatever it is. But after I had my two beautiful daughters, I'm a mother of twin daughters. After I had them, I thought, why not I start from the scratch and write a story for the children? And
Wow.
my very first idea was, why not I write about my own daughters? I have two children at home.
Oh, wow.
That's how my journey started. And without giving even a second of thought, I said, I'm going to publish this book. And this is my first book. And the girls you see in the cover page are my daughters.
Your twins.
Yes, my twins. It's
Oh.
not about them. I just kept them in my mind while writing the story. The story is completely fictional, but it's
Okay.
not about them. But they were there in my mind throughout when I was writing the story, and this gave
Wow.
me obviously more confidence to publish. And this book is basically for children in between the age group of 7 and 10. And then that built more confidence in me to write more for children who are older. So I wrote another book, which is called The Intertwined Family. This is for slightly older children. And this is for children in between the age group of 10 and 12. And both my books are available in all the online platforms like Amazon and everywhere. And they are also available in many school libraries in the UAE. I go to schools for visits, and I encourage children in writing. And because there are a lot of children who are exactly like me, who love to write, but they don't know where to take it to or how to go ahead with it. So I want to inspire as many children as possible. So, and I
That's
live in
nice.
UAE, so that's basically
So
me.
it's been how long
Um,
when you published this book? When were these two books published?
The first book, Photo Friend, was published in 2020. Then, because I had some personal issues going on in my life, my mom was sick, so I couldn't focus much on my writing. But this book I published in 2020. Then I had to take a break, and then I went ahead with the second book, The Intertwined Family. It's published by Austin Macaulay Publications. But it's a UK based publication company, but they also have a branch here in the UAE.
Nice. So you write especially for kids, like keeping them in mind.
Until now, yes.
Nice. That's good. Good start.
Yes.
Later on, when you thought that now I can publish, I want to be known as an author, what was that moment?
You know, it's funny for all the authors. If you meet any author, it will take a while for them to openly admit that I am an author, I am a published author. Because even after you publish your first book, you are still skeptical about how it's going to be received by the readers. You know, it will take a long time for you to openly admit, yes, I am a published author. But yeah, like for to answer your question, it was my children. Even after I gave birth, even after they came into my life, I kept writing. I love writing poetries also, short stories, poetries also. And then I had left my job. I thought because I had twins, it took a lot of my time to take care of them and all that. So I had left. I was working in the corporate industry in finance here in UAE. Then I couldn't give time to both equally. So I had left my job to completely take care of my children.
Mhm.
That's when I decided, okay, now that I need some more time to get back to this full time job, why
Mhm.
don't I focus on my writing part and why don't I pursue a future in writing? That's how I decided to publish my first book.
Wow, lovely. So, how old are your daughters?
Now they are in year 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. You already told about these two books. If you can give a little brief as well, what kind of content is there? What does it talk about?
Okay. Actually, both the books are entirely different. The first book is, like I said, it's for smaller, younger group of children, and it completely talks about friendship and the bond, which I think nowadays is lacking a little bit in this generation of children. For us, when we were small, we had best friends, and the friendship lasted longer. I feel now
Okay.
the children quickly they switch, they change their group, or if there's something they don't like, they quickly change their friend or something like that. So this book is completely based on friendship and how certain children are misunderstood just because of the attitude they show or just because of the way they speak. This is like a proper message that don't go with the face. Try to understand the person and the personality of another individual.
Hmm.
And the other book, The Intertwined Family, is about, again, a girl. I think I write a lot about girls. Again, a girl who struggles in her life, but she doesn't give up. And she comes out of it in flying colors, like she succeeds
Wow.
in life to another level. So, this also, I want all the girls, all the children, whoever is going through any challenge, to not accept failure or not take challenge as a very difficult step, but to face it with a positive attitude. Yeah.
Hmm. Nice. How much time did it take you to complete, both the books? Like, what was the hardest part in writing?
The Actually, the hardest part was writing the first book because I kept my daughters in my mind, and every time I wanted to write some complicated or any challenging chapter, I'm like, no, I don't want to put my daughters in that challenging situation.
Oh, so sweet.
But that was very challenging, extremely challenging for me in the first book. But the
Hmm.
second book, it was easy because somehow it's like having a momentum. It strikes. This is what you want to write about. And whenever I'm writing, I think about how the story is going to end before I think about how it's going to start. I always
Hmm.
think about the twist or the ending part of the story. I go in a reverse cycle. That makes it easier for me to write the story. So the
Right.
second book, it was still okay. It was still easier. First book, I unnecessarily took it too personally. So I had struggle completing it. Yeah.
Yeah. How much time did it take to complete both of them?
Oh, yeah. The first one, I think it took around a year.
Hmm.
And I completed the story in a year, and then to figure out how to get it published and all took
Hmm.
another 6 to 7 months.
Sec-
And yeah, it was a long journey. But the second one, it was quite easy.
So, what do you like hope readers feel after finishing reading this book?
I really hope that they get inspired after reading the story. They keep the story stays in their heart for a long time, and they can use a few messages like to face challenges in life and how to be positive. There must be 10 things happening in your life, and out of the 10, nine of them might be negative, but there will be one positive incident happening in your life. So hang on to that one positive and try to turn the rest of the nine into positive. So basically, have a positive thinking. That's the whole story. My both story ends like that. It
So
took
it's
me
a like it's a one person's story starting and then ending, or
yes.
it's a
No,
combination of different stories.
no. It's one
Ah,
person's journey.
okay.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most as a published author? And how do you take the reviews of the readers, like both bad and good? So, how do you take them?
The surprising fact was that me, the most introvert person, getting ready to publish my book and being ready to speak about it openly was really surprising. I thought I can just write and sit quietly, but it doesn't work like that. I have to write and I have to talk about it. Nowadays, that's how
Yes,
the market is like that.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
just sit quietly. I'm
Mhm.
go to schools and visit children and all that.
Hmm.
But the reviews, I have kept an open mind about it because my books are for children and it's children who are reading it. And then children are the most honest feedback reviewers, I would say, because
Correct.
they tell you right on your face whether they like it or whether they don't like it, and
Hmm.
if there is any certain part of the story which they would have wanted in a different way. My stories have a stronger impact on girls. The boys, and they're like, "Why, ma'am? Why your books are always the girls are the main characters in your book? Why not us?" So I have taken that in my mind and write more about boys also.
Hmm.
So, but the reviews, I really take it as it comes because I take it as a learning journey. The more I interact with children, the children are amazing these days. They are extremely confident. When you talk to the children, I grow along with them. When
Hmm.
I get to understand a lot of things along with the children. So when they give their feedback, that is really precious to me.
What was
Nice.
your daughter's feedback when they read?
Oh, they were really excited. Now, as they have reached the teenage, they are not that excited about the books. But initially, when I published the book and they saw the pictures and all that, they was very excited and they were showing it off to their friends. And they even helped me with a bit of marketing and all that. My one daughter is very much into Minecraft, so she created the whole cover page in the Minecraft style, and then she promoted it and all that. Yeah, so
Wow.
they are very supportive
That's
of.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have to ask you, like, what was the biggest challenge in getting this book into the world, what would you say?
I approached distributors and I said that you do the distribution. I've done my work. But they said, no, your work is not over. You still have to talk about it. So, probably because it's the way I grew up, it is very difficult for me to tell people that, come see, this is my book. You're supposed to buy my book and read it and tell me how you feel and all that. So that part was really challenging for me. But now, after speaking to so many children, I've visited so many schools in UAE. I do the creative writing sessions along with them, and the kind of response I get from them, because when they meet the author of the book that they have read, they have too many questions. They
Yeah.
want to know how it's done and where did the idea come from and then what
Mm.
can I do. So the initial hesitation that I had to talk about my book is completely gone. Now I really enjoy talking about it because they want to know about it.
From where does this imagination come? Because you are writing a fiction, so you are creating a story. Do you pick bits and pieces from your own life or the people you have seen around and then you create a story? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, that is exactly how it works. First of all, I am a very imaginative person. Whenever I'm in after the end of the day, when I'm going to bed, I think of how the day went, and if there are any certain incidents or something that stays in my mind, I keep thinking of that particular incident. I will think of different scenarios which did not happen. Probably it was a simple incident that happened, but I will also think of that also shows the creative side of you, which is
Exactly.
also an overthinking unnecessarily. You don't have to complicate the situation, but you can also think of the incidents that could have happened, would have happened. That also triggers the creativity. And I observe the people a lot. One of my teachers from my school, she was my literature teacher. She used to say, whenever you're trying to write and if you're stuck, if you don't know what to write about, you want to write about, just look outside. If you see a bird, if you see two birds, give them names. This bird is named Jack. This bird is named something else. And then create a story in your mind. If they are sitting together, what are they talking about?
Mm.
You know, like that, this imagination and out of the box thinking. And while you're writing your own story is the only place where there is no restriction. Nobody is going to tell me you cannot think beyond than this. That is my world. I'm creating a world. I'm creating my
Mm.
own characters. It's my safe space where I can write, I can think whatever I want. So
True.
yeah, I love doing that.
Nice.
So, what would be your advice to the kids who want to become author?
Yeah, see, nowadays, first of all, children are not hesitant at all. If they want to achieve something, they are ready to work for it. Like what I faced when I was child was a bit of a lack of confidence to show my work to another person. But nowadays, children are not hesitant about that. Apart from that, my advice would be write every day. You don't have to have a clear picture of what you want to write, or it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be rough, it can be completely wrong, no problem. But write every day. When you write every day, at least 10 sentences or 500 words, 200 words, whatever it is, keep a journal, right? Whatever comes in your mind, probably something that happened in school, or just like I said, like my teacher said, look outside, write anything. The more you write, the perfection you reach.
Hmm.
Whenever you end up wanting to become an author or wanting to write a full novel, yes, then you get the complete idea. The big novels that we read, the authors, what they do is they target 4,000 words each day. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be connected to the storyline that they have in mind, or it doesn't have to be connected to the characters. Sometimes it's about characters, sometimes it's about a particular chapter, but they target 4,000 words per day. So what happens by the end of 1 month, you have already written 30,000 words. It's
Hmm.
a 400-page book already. So,
Correct.
and then you can do the editing. You can change the story. You can bring in more twist. So everyday writing is what I would advise children, whoever wants to become an author.
Nice. But once that is completed, that's a draft you have made. Now, getting it into a full fledged book, that is itself another journey, isn't it?
It
I
is.
would request you to talk a bit about that as well, like finding the distributors, what process an author has to go through to get their draft finalized and published. And is there any cost also involved?
There is definitely a cost involved, and the cost also depends upon how big the publisher is, the publishing company, how big is the company. Depending on that, they will charge for publishing your book. Since they are going to give their name to your book, they have a professional proofreader. First, you send your script to them, and the proofreader will go through the story completely, and then they will decide whether they are willing to publish it or not. And for each country, the rules are different. For UAE, especially for children, the schools do not accept if there is too much violence in the story. You can keep it in the shops like Kinokuniya or any bookshops, but end of the day, the book is for children. It has to reach children, and schools are the best medium to reach out your books to the children. If your book has content that is not accepted in the as per the rules of the particular country, then yeah, you are really doomed. Once you get a good publisher, they will take care of rest of the stuff. They will first proofread it because they're going to give their name. They have to make sure it's up to the standard level, their
What
standard.
does the term proofread means?
They have a proofreader who will read the entire work that you have submitted, and they'll make sure that it follows all the rules, especially if it's a children book. There are certain set rules. There are certain aspects that cannot be included in the story. So they make sure that all of that is done. And then even the work, I mean, the standard of the language and everything, they make sure everything is up to their level of publishing, because they're going to give their name in your book. So they make,
Um,
and then the proofreader gives a green light to your work, and then you go ahead. Then they take all the permission. There are some approvals and all you need to get before it is finally
which
published,
they
and
will take.
which they will take. Once you
Oh,
get a,
yeah.
there is also something called self publication, which you can approach the government directly. There is Dubai Media Council where you can apply, you can send your work online to them. They will read it, and once they approve, they will give you the ISBN number, which is the like a tag. This one.
Okay.
There is an ISBN number for each book, which is given by the government of UAE, Dubai.
So this is given to the author.
It's if you're trying to do it yourself, if you are doing self publishing, then
Hmm.
yes, you approach them directly. If you're going through a publishing house, like I went through a publishing house, this is Austin Macaulay Publications. So they did everything. My only first step was to give my work and wait for their approval. Only once they approve my work, then only they go to the next step. Then after that, they work along with you for everything, like the cover page. This cover page is completely my idea. This
Hmm.
design, everything is my idea. This book does not have pictures. This is for slightly older children. There is no artwork inside, but this one has pictures, small some. So all these,
Hmm.
their creative team will work along with us, because they want to know if we have suggestions. They will give their suggestions, and we work along together, and then we decide what pictures to be added and what colors. Even the colors also we can suggest, like certain colors. I wanted this part to stand out because I'm a new author. And if it's just plain white or nobody will, at least if it has a bright color, people would just pick it up and see. This is how you keep in the bookshops, right? This is how you
Yes.
see the books. So if you see a different shade, at least they will pick it up and look like what's the title of the book or something like that. So yeah, once you approach a publishing house, you work along with them and then things work out.
So, if I may ask you, once you finalize the publisher, then from there, from draft to make it in, turn it into a final version, it was put in the shelf in the stores.
Mm.
How much time did it take you?
See, it will take only 1 to 2 months. Once the
Oh,
writing part takes longer time, once it's given to the publisher, once the proofreading part is done, for the rest of the stuff, it will take maximum 2 months.
reading, how, including proofreading, I'm saying,
No, no,
this whole process,
no, no.
like since you approached them.
Once you approach them, it depends on how much time they take to read your work.
Mm.
Once they finish reading one, and once they are ready to go ahead with it, then it takes just 1 to 2 months to finish
So,
the
for
whole.
you,
The first one was quick, like it was just 2 months. Everything was done in 2 months. I had a
oh,
very clear
nice.
picture of what kind of pictures to be added, and I did not want too many colors because it's not for, see, this is a sad face.
Mm.
Like, I did not want too many colors because it's not for toddlers or smaller children. I had named each and every chapter separately. I wanted separate design for each chapter. So this one did not take, and the designer, she is from Spain. So we used to meet online and we
Quite
used to.
fast, I would say. I was thinking maybe 6 months, something like that.
No, 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 no. Once you have a clear idea, it is very easy. It was really fast. My second book took longer time because my mom was sick and I was traveling a lot to India and
That was
coming.
for personal reasons,
Yeah.
otherwise, probably the same
Otherwise,
time, two
yeah.
months. You might have approached different publications. Is it that you shared your draft with multiple companies?
No, I did not because I had a friend whose daughter is also an author. So she had already published from Austin Macaulay.
So
So I
you only
approached.
tried one publication house and finalized with them.
Yes,
But
because
in case, because your story is going to someone, and after they go through it, they decide whether they would be even interested to publish it or no, right? Based on the content. Because what if your story, someone is reading your story, your content is with someone else now, there is a chance of some person, unknown person, can pick some part of your story, use it somewhere. So is there any kind of agreement, NDA signed with the houses when an author is giving their work for proofreading?
yes, there is a contract that you sign initially, and in which everything is written that you have submitted your work on this date to this particular organization. There is a contract.
No. Okay, good,
Yes.
nice. If I have to ask you your favorite author, like living or dead, you would love to have a dinner with, then what name would you take?
There is a long list. If I have to choose one person, I would always choose Agatha Christie.
Okay.
She, because I'm so intrigued with her work, her books are published in the years 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And at that during that time, she had so much intense knowledge about human psychology and and the books that's published in those years and the she has portrayed women in her books, the women are always supremely smart and clever and they handle any situation so smartly, and the thrilling part is also amazingly written by her because nowadays when you read a psychological thriller, there is always a lot of violence, lot of killing and
Hmm.
a lot of blood and all that, but in her stories there is no noise. There is a suspense. You are on the edge. You want to know how it's going to end. And it's always the most unexpected person who ends up being the protagonist. But the way her thinking process, how she came up with these ideas is supremely, amazing to read. And the kind of language she uses, that is a different era of English. And another thing that I have noticed about her stories is like she has so many characters in her story. Nowadays, in our stories, we basically have 4 to 5 main characters, and the story revolves around those characters. But in her books, there are so many of them, and each one of them have their own importance. You know, they have their own storylines going on, which is equally important to the final structure of the story. Yeah, so she was a suspense thriller story, right? Or
Yeah. Mm, nice. One book that I had enjoyed reading was Godfather by Mario
oh, yeah.
Puzo. Reading the book was any time more enticing than watching the movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mrs. Menon, like, is there anything in bucket list which you are thinking of writing, or do you have already started off?
Yeah. I've always wanted to write a psychological thriller. I keep reading
Okay.
so many thrillers that I end up suspecting even my family members.
Oh.
Well, I'm like, you need to take a break from these books. But that is my dream. I've always wanted to write, but I never got the right idea until now. I think the
Wow.
moment has come, and I've started working on it. And I'm hoping that it comes out successfully.
Definitely,
All
it
the very
is.
best.
Yeah, we would.
Thank you so
We are
much.
waiting for your book.
Well, thank you so much.
So the people who want to see, who want to read your books, or who want to know more about you, where can they find you? Where can they find your work? How to reach out?
Yeah, my books are there on Amazon platforms. I can share the link with you. And I'm actively available on Instagram. My handle is JCM_books. So I keep posting reviews about the books that I read, and I also give some writing tips to children. And I've also created a book club for children, and we have online meetups, and sometimes we have meetups outside. Now that the weather is nice, sometimes we meet up outside and discuss about books, because there are a lot of children who love reading, but they have so much of schoolwork that they don't really get time to read. So when there is a book club, and when we give them a project or ask them to read, and then I ask them questions from the book, so they want to sound smart, so they end up reading it, and slowly
Mhm.
they start enjoying the whole process. So that is also happening sideways. So yeah, these are
So these
basically.
meetups are only with the kids, or like any book lover can be part of it?
Anybody can be part, but since I have published children books, and I'm
Hmm.
interacting more with children, I'm focusing on children right now. But like I said, the psychological thriller that I'm thinking of writing, it's for adults. So maybe once that is out, I'll plan for adults also.
That's a very good thing. You started with the kids and you are engaging them, because this is a very good habit, book reading.
Yeah.
And if a child can get into this from childhood itself,
Hmm.
nothing like it.
Because,
Absolutely.
reading and writing both are interconnected. If you love writing, you need to read also. You get ideas from reading other people's books, like
Yeah.
how their thought processes have worked, and you can add on your ideas to it and then make your writing more beautiful. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Anything which we have not asked and you want to tell to our viewers?
The only thing I would like to say is, if you love your work, go ahead and publish it. Don't hesitate. Don't think what other people are going to think. What other people are always going to think something or the other. So forget about it. You love doing something. You enjoy doing something. If you want to publish, go ahead, publish your work. Don't hesitate.
That's
Don't waste time.
it's a great advice.
Yeah.
As you have already started that psychological thriller, boys will be happy.
Daughters also, my daughter, they love psychological thrillers. We are still old school types. We want to feel the page and paper and all that.
Yeah, that's the best way. When you feel the paper, when you underline, then you put your marker and then you restart
Exactly.
next day.
Yeah.
That has a different pleasure.
Yeah.
I always prefer like hard copies, reading hard copies.
Yes.
Because Kindle
Absolutely.
also, you are again on the screen only at the end of the day. So it
Hmm.
increases
Yeah.
your screen time. Hard copy is anytime the best way of
Any
reading.
day.
And it's very handy, easy, close to heart.
Have books, before going to bed. We have that habit here. Before going to bed, we just read a few pages,
Yeah.
and then you're already drifting off to sleep. So that book,
Yes.
that has to be there, the small
Yes, yes,
side,
yes.
that
Yeah.
has
In
to
fact,
be
I
there.
would request all the parents that wherever your kids sleep, try to make a space just for the books, so that before sleep they can go through a couple of pages. And
True.
then eventually it will become a habit for them.
Absolutely. Maybe just every day, 10 pages. Don't target for more. I'll read.
Hmm.
You'll end up reading more once you
Yeah,
start.
true.
Like,
Yeah, there is one more thing. Like when you see the screen, again, there is a light which is falling on your eyes that disturbs your sleep as well. Even the doctors are suggesting that let the child read the book.
hmm.
The light should fall
Because,
on the book, not on
absolutely.
child's eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that way,
That is
also it
actually
is.
for everybody, not just children, for us
Yeah,
as well.
for everybody. Absolutely.
They say at least 1 hour before sleep, you should
Absolutely.
not be looking at the screen.
Hmm.
That is
It
what they
has
say.
actually become really difficult to do.
It has. It
It
has.
has something just before going to bed.
And hundred of things, comes in mind before sleeping only.
Yeah.
All right, Mrs. Menon, it was lovely talking to you. We enjoyed this very podcast with you, and some nice tips and highly motivating, especially for the people who are into writing or thinking to publish their books. So, thank you so
Hmm.
much for coming and giving your knowledge, sharing your books with us. And parents, if you are really confused, what shall we make our kids read, then you already know now
Yeah.
what to make them
Right.
read, right?
I was thinking to purchase for my daughter when I was talking to her.
Uh, that
Nice.
is
She's
so
10
sweet.
years old, yeah. So
Oh,
I'll
that's
just
the perfect
personally,
age.
yeah. And she
Thank you
loves
so much,
reading.
Miss Aditi, and thank you so much, Miss Anjali, for organizing this podcast. This was my first experience, and I did not even feel like this was a podcast or I'm being recorded or anything. I just felt like I'm talking to two friends of mine.
Yeah, we try to make it, conversational.
Yeah, and I really hope that some of my words would have reached the children and some of the children,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
whoever
and their
wants
parents, especially, very important.
also,
Hmm.
and whoever wants to pursue writing. I hope I have
Yes.
inspired somebody at least.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Thank you, Mrs. Menon. Thank
Thank
Thank you
you
so
you.
much. Thank you
much.
Have
so
a
much.
great day.
You
And good
too.
luck for your next book. And I'm
Thank you.
waiting for it.
Yeah, we will meet up after that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.